Welcome to Wraparound the World, where we explore the incredible journey of Wraparound from its origins to its global impact. Join us as we delve into personal and community stories, meeting powerful individuals, families, and communities who have been transformed by this powerful approach.
In today's show, we welcome Renada Johnson from Lutheran Services in America, a champion for change. She leads their Results Innovations Lab, where they empower families, transform policy, and impact practice in child welfare systems across the country.
Man, thanks for coming. Let's maybe begin with a little bit of share a little your journey about how kind of you got to where you are today. Shorter version, maybe.
Thank you for that notation.
Yeah, maybe introduce and who you're with and kind of your journey.
Okay. So I am Renada Johnson. I'm the Senior Director of our Children, Youth, and Family Initiatives at Lutheran Services in America. I have been there for about 2 years. And before that, I worked for a child welfare agency in Washington, D.C. in their foster care department. And so have been there for over 20 years and just really enjoyed that experience, but was looking for something where I could really have a greater impact. And I think you kind of fall into this work because that's where God wants you to be. Right out of college, I was just trying to find a job, and it happened to be in foster care. But it was so familiar to me because my grandparents were foster parents, my mom was a foster parent, my aunts were foster parents. I grew up with foster siblings, foster cousins, like the whole nine. So I was able to know the real side of foster care with
Right.
growing up in that way,
Right.
and then now being exposed to this side of foster care and being able to really come to the table with some sort of lived experience around that and what that means and being able to provide that. So it seems to have just become like part of my passion work in what I do and how I authentically show up and support communities.
That's cool. So in your journey, what's made you stay?
What has made me stay in the child welfare?
I mean, sounds like you got some skills that can be applied anywhere.
Well, I really have a passion for working with people that look like me, working for all young people, but specifically working with people and for people that look like me, and being able to make sure that we can all advocate in that way. Because I truly believe that if we can reach those that are furthest away from from the goals that we have, then we are actually reaching everyone.
Yeah.
And being able to speak for those that sometimes people don't speak up for and that are unheard. I want to be that voice. In the community, I still work with young people. I promote and teach Black history across the country. And so doing that kind of equity work really falls in line with this. And I'm really excited to be a part of a team with you all, with our Lutheran Service in America members and all of that are really authentically here to really support this type of mission and make sure that equity is at the center of all of our work so that it is not extra work, but it's really the work and how we naturally do our work.
Love it.
Can you tell us about the mission that you all are doing with the equity work that you're talking about?
Yes.
With the initiatives that we're working with you with?
Yep. So at Lutheran Services in America, I lead our Results Innovation Lab. And in the lab, we're really our overarching goal is to decrease the number of kids that are coming into foster care, period. And we are, especially those that are overrepresented.
Yeah.
And so we have a results statement. We are, utilizing results-based facilitation. And that results statement allows us to be super intentional about what we do. And our results statement is that we have a goal that every child in the U.S. grows up in safe, stable, permanent family homes. And if we can do that, we can move the needle. And I think what's been so special about this work is that all means all. And there are so many times where we hear that word and I know it doesn't include me.
Right.
Or it doesn't include people that look like me.
Okay.
But being intentional about the equity work, being intentional about disaggregating data, about challenging assumptions and all of that, it puts us in a space where I really feel like all means all. And then if you're saying all means all, I get to hold you accountable
Yeah.
for that
Yeah.
and maybe show you some of your own blind spots that you may not be aware of, where maybe there are times when all doesn't mean all. But if we're still like working in the same direction, you don't you don't necessarily feel a type of way when I call that out.
Right.
You're saying, "Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you for teaching me that. Thank you for showing me that. Now I can show up in this way because the people that we're working with, they authentically want all to mean all as well. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And I love that you're talking about that in that collaborative partnership in a true and authentic way,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And so I think that models for whatever agencies you're working with, and I think it's from the top down. So as you're working with those agencies, then the teams that are working and doing that work, this is I'm kind of speaking and doing the things that I'm asking you to do as well. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And looking at our theme of moving from intention to impact is what is really guiding us right now, so that we don't have to get into a discussion about your intentions. Because I believe that most people just wake up and want to do the right thing.
Sure. Yeah.
And so it's saying, I'm not questioning you about that, but I am saying, are your intentions leading to the impact? And if they're not, I know your intentions are good. So let's just make sure it's actually leading to impact.
Right.
And
What do
so
you
that
need?
helps people. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Is it knowledge? I heard you say, and I've heard this language, and tell me if it sounds like it's right, but it's like creating a prevention ecosystem to stop the unnecessary removal of children, especially over marginalized children, right?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. And looking at the statistics that show that about 70% of the kids come into foster care because neglect, not abuse.
Correct.
Right.
And we know that
That's true.
neglect is oftentimes a product of poverty
And society.
and society and all these systemic things that are happening. Well, how do we build people up to look at that? How do we have them kind of change their perspective a little bit? So often people think that they have this picture of why kids come into care.
Right.
And it's
Yeah.
because these parents are bad and they
Right.
made these terrible decisions. And sometimes it is they had to choose between going to work or taking the child to the doctor
Many
Right.
times.
many times. And so, how do we support them in ways, and how do we provide knowledge to other people so
Right.
that they show up with a sense of empathy and they focus their efforts in ways that are going to change laws, that are going to change policy, that are going to change practice, so that those families are able to get the supports that they need. And then we as a field are actually able to target our supports to those families that may have come into the system for different reasons, that we're really trying to support those families. We can target our supports that way instead of getting clogged up with families that really don't belong in the system but need other supports from other
We
places.
get better because we do
Right.
it better.
Absolutely. Like that.
We get better because
Yes.
we do it better.
Yes.
I was wondering about justice. I'm here in equity. You mentioned how some of the change in the policy and the legal world. Do you know, is there some connection there to justice and change too? And maybe you want to talk a little bit. And I know they're paired.
Right.
But to me, it's taking that innovative step to be able to stand in some communities maybe that aren't so about that. And maybe do you have anything you want to share about kind of the justice work?
I think that when I think of justice work, I also think of, like you said, what are you willing to stand in the gap for? And so part of our work is using our person role system framework, which is out of the results based leadership. And it's basically saying how you show up as a person impacts your role, impacts the system. And it really allows us to say, so often, we're talking and it's like, in my role, I do this, in my role, I do that. We're saying, well, on a person level, what does this mean? Because this goes into what you can do outside of work and the justice work that you can do. If you believe in this, then how are you voting? Right. Or what things can you do that that other people can't stop you from doing? You have your own power to be able to do that. And when you look at what does justice mean, how do we get justice? and being able to carve all of those things out and let people know that although your role is different, the system is different, they are still all very connected to who you are as a person. And that's why it's so important to really talk about and go through those cycles of talking about vulnerability, talking about implicit bias, just being authentic about how you show up.
Yeah.
And I talk about all the time, like, systems don't change systems, people change systems. But we got to know who are we and how do we grow in areas where we might be not as cognizant of everything, may not know some of the laws. Like, being here and being a part of the racial wealth gap simulation, that just laid out laws that are there that help people to say, okay, if I believe in this, I can work to change this law. It helps target people in where they want to help, because I think people want to help, but they don't know how.
Right. Yeah. So that collaboration, integration, you can do your part at work, you can do your part at home. And I think a big part of this is just helping people, because we all change in this work, right? Like, wow, yeah. I'm just processing out loud what you said, and
well, and to the conference, and we're so grateful that you were able to be here and share some information about your results work, the stuff that you're doing. Take things away. What are some takeaways? What are some of the things you think that
Yeah, I think I've just been able to write down in my notebook so many different things that I've been able to take away. One in which the racial wealth gap simulator, and how that can really be the foundation of what people can do on their justice journey as organizations. How do we set the foundation, especially if what we talked about in that simulator impacts the people that are overrepresented in the child welfare system? Do you know that information, and what do you do with that information? So that, I think there's so many nuggets from some of the speakers, one in which, like, the am I the problem, am I sabotaging, how to make sure that I look at myself while I'm pointing and saying person, role, system. Am I showing up in the way that I want to, and how can I continuously grow? There was another one talking about, we can't change people, but we can inspire people to maybe consider something else.
yeah, I love that.
And that's where your intentions were, I want to help you, but I can't change you. So I have to be mindful of how I show up. So I just think all of those things are helpful, not only in how we engage the families that we want to support, but how we engage each other.
Right.
And I think that has just been phenomenal. So this has been a phenomenal time. And also the collaboration, being able to meet so many different people and saying, you're doing wraparound, we're doing wraparound, you're in this place, you're in rural areas, you're in urban areas. How do we really meet and continue some of these conversations so that we can show up better and better for the families that we want to support?
Yeah.
I heard Bruce Perry saying on one of his videos, adherence to the sequence of engagement is paramount, right? Meaning that, like, we know that people live in fight or flight, especially folks that have been exposed to trauma. And so what he talked about is because they're always living in their response system, right? They're ready to go. If you keep showing up again and again, and every once in a while, and they discover that they're safe with you, you may just have 30 seconds where they move back to baseline. And in that 30 seconds, if you can plant a little bit of rhythm, consistency, trust, then that it's almost like the car hood, right? It gets a little bit better at going down. And I think that what you described was so elegant in, like, how do we continue to show up how do we take care of ourselves so that we can continue to show up, because there's a cost to caring. And how can we appreciate and humble, or maybe not appreciate the sequence and those 2 minutes that you got. And am I ready? Do I stay ready? Because there's going to be 10 hours where the brain is offline, right? And then if you can manage and stay in that, it'd be really great. For those 2 minutes, you might be able to plant a seed.
Yes.
Gosh, well, let's begin to close out. what are some like words of wisdom for the future of like Wraparound and like maybe some new people getting started? You know how you talk about your journey. So what are maybe some new words of wisdom maybe we can share with the community?
I think some words of wisdom, especially when it comes to wraparound, is that wraparound is not necessarily a program, but is a way of engaging and supporting people. And we should all be using elements of wraparound in everything that we do. And so, really, when people want to engage with this, be mindful that how it can be impactful in your own personal life and in your role and with the people that you're engaging, because it shows you how to show up in a very human way for
Yeah.
people that are going through human experiences that just need some support. And sometimes that's us,
Yeah,
That's right.
yeah.
so absolutely.
Oftentimes. Same game, different level, right?
Yes, yes.
So thank you so much, and we're gonna close out. And one of the things that we've been asking everybody is like, if you were to kind of like give a slogan for our podcast,
Oh.
do you got anything? Not to put you on blast, put you on the spot. And Tracy, I don't know if you want to say anything else too, buddy.
No, just that I know that you're leading a lot of different efforts in this work, and certainly appreciate the partnership um, with LSA and all the things you're doing. But yeah, you and your team there, it's great and inspiring. You all inspire us, and we appreciate the partnership. And I'm always taking things from wherever I go, and every time I have a conversation with you, I feel like I'm inspired and take things away. And this has been no different. So I want to thank you for coming. It's been an honor to have you here. I'm grateful you're here at the conference, so I get to see you in person again.
Yeah.
We don't have any TJ Maxx that are near here.
Ross.
Ross, okay,
Yes.
Ross, they're near here. But yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, and I've heard lots of stories about Renata. They've all 99% have been great. I'm not gonna
See, he
lie.
doing too much. He's
Honestly.
he over there doing too
And
much.
no, but it was nice to get to sit and hold space with you, and yeah, and get to meet the person.
Thank you. If I had to come up with maybe a slogan for the podcast, it would probably be something around um, maybe join the family
Hmm.
or at the family table, something about family, because I definitely think
Family
that you
table.
all exude a type of energy that is supportive for people that are doing this work, because they don't have to come uptight. They don't have to come proving that I am here to support families. They can come as their authentic selves, have fun, embrace each other, and do this complex work amongst people who really care. So that just it feels like family. It's a warm feeling. So that's what I would.
See, what did
With
I
all
just
these
say?
cameras and
What
our
did I
face
just
and
say?
you still
What
said
did I
it.
just say? This is what I mean.
Yeah.
This is exactly what I mean.
It's family business.
Yeah.
Family
Yeah.
business at
I
the
love
table.
it.
I
Family
love it.
business at the table.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. We hope
Thank
to have
you,
you back.
Renata.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll talk about something fun next time.
Awesome.
Not to say this wasn't fun, but
Right.
you know what I mean. All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you, Renata.
Thank you.
Good to see you like always.
All right.
All right.